Well, get this. A government agency extending its grip into the fourth estate, which of course is the press and the media. The Federal Trade Commission, known as the FTC, releasing a report that is meant to give struggling news organizations a helping hand from the government. Here's some of what is in the journalism reinvention draft, which you will want to have some light shed on. Tax credits to organizations for every journalist that they employ. A 5% tax on consumer electronics, so it's possible next time you buy your TV, if this goes through, 5% of that purchase at the consumer electronics store would go to pump up the journalism ranks. And increased funding to public radio and TV. Critics are saying that this is a dangerous overreach of power. Byron York is the chief political correspondent at the Washington Examiner. Boy, this one caught our eye this morning, Byron. What do you think of this idea?
Martha, this is a bad idea. It's all being done under the guise of, quote, rescuing journalism. Now, we all know that print journalism especially is in bad shape. Newspapers are shrinking. Their readers are going away. Their advertising dollars are down. But the answer is not to make them, to federalize them, essentially, to make them an arm of the government. Look, newspapers have, for example, have had scandals in the past, and occasionally they've investigated themselves. But generally, you know, a reporter for the Washington Post does not do a hard-hitting story on the Washington Post company. Imagine if they were taxpayer-supported. I mean, how many tough stories are we going to get about, say, the Federal Trade Commission? It's just not going to happen. It is the worst sort of abridging the freedom of the press that you could think of, which is what the First Amendment says.
And, you know, when you think about it from a free market perspective, you know, the horse and buggy making way for the car, there's a lot to, there are a lot of media companies out there, the one that I work for included, who've been very innovative in the way that they have, you know, tried to reach across all these different platforms that exist now and the way that people get their news. Isn't it incumbent upon media organizations to adapt, to find ways, because people are not tired of information. They want information.
We have seen some old newspapers go under. We have seen enormous changes in the media world, but we've also seen successful new enterprises. This is a period of enormous change in the journalism business, and there are new publications, there are networks, there are internet websites that are all doing really quite well. And so the idea that it somehow needs help like General Motors or Chrysler.
And that people would pay for it through a 5% tax every time they buy consumer electronics? I don't think that's going to sit too well with
forcing
people.
the taxpayers. Because, you know, one of the things that internet journalism is going to have to do is they're going to have to charge people for content at some point, but that's not taxing everybody for it. It's charging the consumer for it.
All right, Byron, thank you so much. Byron York joining us from D.C. today. Interesting story.
Thank you.